and we're all present. I'd like to read the land acknowledgement. The municipality of Dysart acknowledges that we are on the traditional territory known as the Williams Treaty First Nations, which includes Curve Lake, Hiawatha, Alderville, Scugog Island, Rama, Boswell, and Georgina First Nations. And we thank these nations for their care and stewardship as they pass through these lands. Could I have Mallory, a resolution to adopt the agenda?
Yeah, be it resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of the Council of the Municipality of Dysart et al. Held on May 28, 2024 be approved as presented.
Mover and seconder, Nancy and Barry. All in favor? Thank you. Any disclosures of pecuniary interest or general nature? Being none, resolution on the adoption of the minutes.
Be it resolved that council approves the April 23rd, 2024 regular council meeting minutes as circulated.
Mover and seconder, Walt and Tammy, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay. Any update from the county, Walt, or? Nothing, okay. Okay, so resolution to go into public meeting process.
Sure. So be it resolved that council hereby adjourns the regular meeting of council at 9:02 a.m. to proceed into a public meeting to consider zoning bylaw amendment files D14-ZB-2024-002 Lands of Morley and D14-ZB-2024-005 Lands of 1601603 Ontario Incorporated and Elstone.
Okay, Kirk and Jeff will now join us in. The public meeting for May 28th, 24 will come to order. A notice of this, those in attendance at this meeting will be live streamed to YouTube and recorded. Please note that the recording will be linked to the municipal website. The purpose of the public meeting is to present planning applications in a planning forum that is required by the Planning Act. This is a public meeting to consider two proposed zoning amendments to Dysart zoning bylaw 2005-120. It is council's responsibility to consider all information received to date regarding the applications and to hear and consider any views you may have about these applications. Every person present or registered will have the opportunity to ask questions about the proposals and voice their opinion regarding the same. Please state your name and your relation to the application prior to speaking, and each person will have up to 5 minutes to provide comment or ask questions. Please direct all your questions and comments to the chair. Please restrict your comments to planning matters only. After the public meeting is over, council will make a recommendation as to whether or not the proposed zoning amendments should be passed. Council's recommendations will then be considered during the regular meeting of council. Once council has made a decision on the proposed amendment, notice will be circulated as per the Planning Act. All those persons who have given the municipality written notice that they would like to receive notice of the decision will receive a copy of the decision. You must make this request in writing to the municipality. The Planning Act specifies that if a person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the municipality before the proposed bylaw is passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of the municipality to the Ontario Land Tribunal and may not be added as a party to an appeal unless, in the opinion of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to do so. We will now commence the public meeting as per the agenda. The first application is agenda number file D14ZB 2024 on the lands of Morley.
Murray, can I get a mover and a seconder for going into adjourning the regular council?
Yes, we should have. Carm and Tammy, all in favor? Carried.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, Chris or Jeff, whoever.
Yep. Thank you and good morning, everyone. As noted, this is the application for zoning bylaw amendment for lands of Morley. The proposed is a result of a concurrent severance application conditioned to rezone the property to the satisfaction of the municipality. The application will see the property rezoned as followed. The severed lot will be rezoned from rural type 1 zone to rural residential exception zone for the intended use and front yard setback as applied by section 14.4.5 of the municipal official plan. And the retained lot will be rezoned from rural type 1 to rural type 1 exception zone to recognize the reduced lot area of the property and to implement the environmental protection buffer to reflect the setback from a water feature as identified in the supporting environmental study for the subject property. The severed and retained lots are subject to concurrent severance agreement that will implement the technical recommendations of the site evaluation report and the municipal policies for development of the proposed lot. All neighboring property owners have been circulated to the 120 meters as per the requirement of the Planning Act, and to date, no comments have been received. And given the information outlined in the report, it is recommended that council approve the bylaw as provided.
Is the applicant here?
I believe the applicant may be in attendance.
Mr. Morley, yeah. Okay. Yeah, you have something you'd like to add? No? Smart man. Does council have any questions on this application? I think it's pretty straightforward. Is there anyone who wishes to comment on it? Obviously, there's nobody here. So there's no questions from council? This concludes the public comment portion of the meeting. And if there's no further questions from members of council, this concludes the public meeting for file number D14 ZB 2024, the lands of Morley. Okay,
You want me to read the resolution?
yes, you sure can.
Okay, be resolved that file number D14-ZB-2024-002 for the lands of Morley, which consists of part lot 16, concession 10, block G, plan 404 in the geographic township of Guilford, municipality of Dysart et al., be received for information. And that council directs the bylaw be brought forward for consideration during its May 28, 2024 regular meeting, and that council recommend the bylaw be approved.
Okay, have a mover and seconder. Barry and Pat, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to the next application, file D14ZB 2024-05, lands of 1601603 Ontario Incorporated and Elstone. Okay, who's
Yep. That's me again, so thank you.
Ken?
So this application, the applicant is proposing to construct a two-story garage that will be used for marina storage on the subject property. The proposed rezoning will permit the intended use and will generally be in character with the surrounding land uses. The proposed is subject to site plan control to ensure the proposed is developed in accordance with municipal policy and the proposed site plan. All neighboring property owners have been circulated as per the requirements of the Planning Act. To date, no comments have been received, and given the information as outlined in the report, it is recommended that council approve the bylaw as provided.
Okay, is there any is the applicant present?
I don't believe they are in attendance today.
Are there any questions from council? No public comment either?
Murray, I did visit Dave Elstone there. He talked to me about this whole thing, and I
Okay.
looked over the property. I didn't see anything, you know, I know staff's been there, but I didn't see anything that stuck out that was glaring.
Okay,
there, so.
good, thanks, I'm glad somebody looked at it. So there's no one here that would want to make a presentation?
No.
No questions from council? So then that concludes the public comment portion of the meeting. And if there's no further comment, we have a resolution and
Be it resolved that the report for file number D14-ZB-2020. Chris, this says 2025. It probably means 2024, right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, one sec. I'll just make sure I. 2024-005 lands of 1601603 Ontario Incorporated and Elstone, which consists of part lot 25, concession 3, part 6, registered plan 19R-2448 in the geographic township of Guilford, municipality of Dysart et al. Be received for information, and that council directs a draft bylaw to be brought forward for consideration during its May 28, 2024 regular meeting, and that council recommends approval of the proposed bylaw.
okay, mover and seconder. Walt and Nancy, all in favor? Carried, thank you. And now we have a resolution to go back to the regular meeting.
Be it resolved that council hereby adjourns the public meeting at 9:10 a.m. and reconvenes the regular meeting of council.
Mover and seconder, Tammy and Pat, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay. So I guess we have a delegation now from John and Sharon Sinclair. Are they here? Do you want to come forward, John? Okay, you just press the button there so that you can be heard.
Good morning. I'm here to represent the property owners of on Wonderland Road. We've presented a petition. I don't know whether I'm new to this, so you have to forgive me. Have the petition? Well, I'm here just to indicate that around 70% of the property owners have signed this petition. I suspect some of you in council have heard from some of these people. I know I've tried. The road is a mess. It's deteriorating as we speak. There's still potholes, washboard, and lots of gravel. I took 3 wheelbarrows of gravel out of my ditch from the snowplow. Now, it's not my ditch, of course, it's municipal land, but we try to keep it nice. And when they brushed the road recently to take the sand and so on off, they took sand and gravel and filled my ditch again. Not really fair. I'd be interested to know if you received any Mr. Mayor, you received any phone calls from people on the road relating to the road?
Not other than, I've heard that
Just
you were
me?
concerned, yeah.
Okay. I was told by the roads department that I maybe should get used to it. The last person I spoke to in the roads department told me to contact my ward counselor. Phoned twice, no response. So where do we stand with the road and how do we find out what happens to this petition?
Oh, okay, well, I think a couple of the councillors have driven the road in the last day or two. Of course, there wouldn't be much dust in the
Not
rain.
now, no.
So I don't know whether they'd comment, but I think that's a process that we use that maybe produce more sand than it traditionally did. And would that be winter sand, some of that stuff that you're getting there now from the sand, from the road?
Probably. I have no
Yeah.
idea, but there's a lot of gravel,
Yeah.
loose gravel.
Loose gravel. Well, I'll drive the road myself. I haven't driven it yet. Barry, you drove it.
I drove it. The dust situation, I'm assuming, now I drove it on before the last rain. I drove it on Saturday, I think. Saturday or Sunday. I didn't, unfortunately, and we've had a lot of rain, to be fair. So there was I didn't see any dust on it on Saturday or Sunday. But again, we've had a lot of rain, so that might be part of the problem. I'm not sure what, I don't know. I'm from Ward 5. So if you drive the roads in Ward 5, you would definitely you'd think your road is a highway, to be totally honest. And I understand I think the problem is that, and I have heard from some other people that lived on the road that they thought it was better before it was fixed. Is what they're commenting. And I can't really attest to that because I don't remember what it was like before that.
It was paved.
It was paved, yeah. So again, I don't know really, I don't know how we can fix what's there without a major expense. Like if you wanted to tear it all up and everything, that's I don't know. I think we need to talk to Rob maybe and see what can or can't be done.
I think he's had Miller Paving down there to do some repairs to look at it, so.
Right.
I know that.
Anyway, I think we need to talk to Rob and just see if there's any solution that we can, you don't want to tear up what's there, but maybe it's something you can go on the top of it that'll help the situation. I don't know.
Skim coat or something and that.
Yeah.
Well,
The other thing, sorry.
I do drive that road very, very frequently as I lived down there for 6 months. And I personally feel it was better before the work was done. But my concern is a lot with the gravel chips. There's many people that walk that road. It's a very family oriented place to walk, and anybody driving by that's going the speed limit or many times over the speed limit, there's a lot of gravel chips flying. Not a nice place to try to walk from A to B anymore.
The
So,
deer.
I mean, I support that there needs to be something done with this road.
The deer are even walking on the side because they can't walk on the gravel. Like the dog, there's a lot of pet owners and they walk on the shoulder because it hurts the dog's feet.
I think you answered this already. Has it been swept this
Yes.
spring?
Yeah, filled my ditch, yeah.
Okay.
The other thing is that pile of rubble at the entrance to Autumn Lane. The roads department cleaned up both ends, sort of, where they left the pile, but they forgot this great huge pile of gravel, garbage, excrement, beer cans, whatever, still there.
Okay. Fortunately, I didn't notice that because I didn't really look for it. I
You
should
couldn't
have.
have missed it.
Yeah.
So
But anyway,
that we
that's,
can fix. It's a
that,
lot
that's
easier
an
than the
easy
road.
fix. We just go down and clean that up. Yes. Yeah.
John, if you phone me, I apologize. because
No. I didn't.
No,
No, you didn't phone me?
call me.
Okay.
My phone doesn't take voicemails, it turns them into text messages, which I've just learned.
I see. All right. Well, okay, jumping tracks here then. I drove the road yesterday as well. It was in the rain. My own opinion is the structure of the road's great. Unlike there's, the road surface is not coming apart where it's bare patches of B gravel or A gravel underneath it. That treatment they put on it needs time to absorb the aggregate they put on it, which is slightly causing the dust now. But if they've swept it already this spring, I think it deserves definitely more investigation on that. And if Miller Paving's bringing out these new treatments for these roads, then to me, we should talk to Rob. If it's not satisfactory as an end result, then we got to do something about it. Now, whether that's dust suppression or an over treatment or something like that. Anyway, we'll talk with Rob with it and see if we can't get something sorted out on
I
it.
don't know what happens if you put calcium on top of that dust.
I don't know either.
No.
And
Don't know what
normally
it'll do to the asphalt.
it's not good for asphalt. I don't
Yeah,
think.
I don't think it's good for
No.
asphalt. And again, the dust thing, they did some process when they did their stone this time on that we weren't aware of. And the same thing happened in Halliburton Lake. The dust would choke you. It was terrible. It has gotten better. It's well over a year old now since they did the Halliburton Lake, so it's pretty well relieved itself of the dust problem. But the first summer was bad. And I'm sure it's the same situation for you guys down there.
When did they do that road? Was that 2 years ago?
No, last year.
Last year. Oh, okay, last spring. Well, we'll talk to Rob and we'll see what Miller's plan is. And we'll get back to you. How's that?
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I'd like to see something.
Well, I know it was pavement before and a lot of them were. But the problem is pavement's about 4 or 5 times as much money as it was before.
I understand
And we've
that.
had to go to something else to get some kind of a surface there. This is an anomaly. Like I think it's a stone mixture. It's whatever they've done.
Stone
They've
and
done
oil.
something different.
Yeah.
And it's not sticking. So anyway, I hear you, John.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you very much.
thank you. Okay, resolution then, Mallory?
Mine does. Mo. Is
Just
it-
stored it all, but everything is as a text message in a different place.
Can she hear me? Mallory.
Hold.
Okay, Mallory?
Can you guys hear me?
Vaguely.
No, you're not.
Not well, eh? I don't know what's going on.
Can you hear me, Mel?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah. Phone's not picking
You
me
better
up.
be able to hear me.
Yeah.
Or we're gonna have a long day here. Okay, we need a resolution there.
Can you guys hear me to read it though?
Not very well, we can't.
Okay. Do you wanna take a break for a second to see if we can
No,
figure
no,
it
we're
out?
good to go. We're not stopping.
Okay. Okay, well, I'll read it and see if you can pick it up.
Okay,
Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the petition from local residents expressing concerns with the recent resurfacing of Wonderland Road.
okay, we got it. Mover and
Okay.
second. Nancy and Walt, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, next. I guess is a severance proposal. And that's on somebody on Zoom on that one? Okay, and this is Jeff.
Oh, sorry, this is me as well, just getting
You're a
led
busy
into
guy.
the. Thank you. So this is for the lands of Norris. We'll just speak to both the B and C at the same time. There'll be two resolutions, but we'll speak to both of them sort of at the same time here. So this is a returning file. Council first heard the application during their January 24th, 2024 meeting. The application was deferred by the request of the applicant to allow for discussion with the municipality related to a turnaround area at the end of True North Road, which was a requirement of the municipality for the road maintenance vehicles. Discussions resulted in the municipality and the applicant agreeing to a land swap, which will proceed through a separate application. It is recommended that council support the general principle of the proposed severance and lot addition applications that are proposed as submitted, and subject to the included conditions and comments received through the public review process. The applicant's agent, Lauren Arsenal, is in attendance and will give a quick overview of the application.
Okay. So, any discussion on this? We did see this in January. Sounds like it's, so are we gonna do, we have somebody in on Zoom? Do we on this file?
Yes, we do. Yeah, Lauren Arsenal is
Lauren?
in, and I believe giving a brief presentation on the
Okay,
application.
go ahead, Lauren.
Good morning, Mayor and members of the council. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present on these applications. My name is Lauren Arsenault. I'm a planner with Morgan Planning and Development, and Morgan Planning has prepared a planning justification report in support of two boundary adjustments to either side of the subject property 1341 True North Road on behalf of the owners Joanne and Ken Bleasdale. The purpose of the proposed boundary adjustment is to sever 1.3 acres from the parcel to the east and approximately 1.5 acres from the parcel to the west to convey to the benefiting property to allow for future residential development. And if I may just share my screen, I can show the slideshow that we prepared. Can everybody see that?
Mm-hmm.
Great. And as staff mentioned, council will remember these applications were originally deferred at the January meeting, pending further discussions on approval relating to the conveyance of a turnaround at the end of True North. Subsequently, council passed at the last meeting a resolution supporting a land swap for these lands with the lands that are part of the road allowance, which the applicants were also looking to obtain. So just a brief overview. The subject property or the benefiting lands are located on the north shore of Drag Lake at the end of True North Road. The property has approximately 33 meters of frontage onto Drag Lake, and with a total lot area of approximately 1.3 acres. The property is developed with a seasonal dwelling, which is in disrepair, a shed and a detached garage, and it's the owner's intent to redevelop the property in the future. The property is privately serviced. The remainder of the property that's not developed is heavily wooded with steep ridges and rock cliffs, which I'll show a few pictures in like slides. So here is the existing dwelling, which is in disrepair, and it's the owner's intent to reconstruct a new dwelling in this area. Here's a photo of the rock cliff on the southeast side of the property, close to the waterfront. And then here is the steep ridge at the rear of the property. So the boundary adjustment to the west will allow the property owners to access the rear of the property by foot, as currently it's inaccessible given the steepness of this ridge. The purpose of these applications in conjunction with obtaining the road allowance really is to provide for a wider lot, better access to the rear of the property, as I just mentioned, additional space to allow for a new septic system, as that system will need to be upgraded, and to secure legal road access to the property from True North Road. So here is a look at the severance sketch, which shows our client's parcel or the benefiting lands in blue, parcel B. And the lands that are to be severed and merged with this parcel are shown with the black hatching. So the first application will convey approximately half an acre from parcel A to parcel B. The retained lands, which are already undersized for the RU1 zone, will be made smaller as a result of this application. And therefore a rezoning was requested as a condition of the consent application. You can see that this boundary of the severed parcel will match up with the proposed portion of the road allowance that the owners are looking to obtain. This area is relatively flat in here where the driveway comes in, and it was noted that this might be a good location for a new septic in the future. So as a condition of this application, staff required the conveyance of land to the municipality for a turnaround, which you can see is illustrated here. And yes, council passed the resolution at the last meeting in support for that land swap. So basically swapping the dark red for this orangey red color here. And that's been recommended as a condition of approval in staff's report as well. The second application will convey 1.3 acres from parcel C to parcel B and will widen the lot and extend the shoreline. The retained lands do not need to be rezoned in this case, given that they meet the area and frontage requirements for the appropriate zones. I'll just skip past this. I'll just very briefly review the policy, as that was detailed in our report and staff's report as well. The benefiting property is zoned waterfront residential type 4L and designated waterfront residential area in the municipality's official plan. Property is considered rural lands in the county's official plan. The boundary adjustment is not considered development under the PPS, as no new lot is being created. The proposed boundary adjustment will not offend any natural heritage policies within the township's official plan, and a site evaluation report was not required given the applications do not represent development. However, future development or site alteration of these lands would need to contemplate these policies. Policy within the county's OP is generally reflects the same. In conclusion, Morgan Planning and Development is of the opinion that the applications before you this morning represent good land use planning and conform to the PPS, the municipality's official plan, and the county's official plan. These applications will allow for the orderly redevelopment of an existing residential lot, which will respect terrain and environmental constraints where feasible. We would request that council endorse the applications to the county per the resolution before you this morning, subject to conditions as outlined in staff's report. Thank you very much for your time and attention. I'm available to answer any questions council may have.
It's a pretty thorough report you gave there.
Thanks.
You earn your money, I guess, eh? Okay, I guess, is there any questions from council on either file, A or B? I think it's pretty well covered. So, could have a resolution on section B then, Ari?
Sure. So be it resolved that council, you can hear me, right? Before I go too
Yeah.
far?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Be it resolved that council support the general principle of a severance proposal for file number D00-SV-2023-026, Lands of Norris, subject to the conditions outlined in the staff report.
Okay, mover and seconder, Barry and Carm. All in favor? Carried. Okay. C,
All right. Be it resolved that council support the general principle of a severance proposal for file number D00-SV-2023-027, Lands of Norris, subject to the conditions outlined in the staff report.
okay, mover and seconder, Walt and Nancy, all in favor? Carried. Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Fran.
council.
Thanks. Okay, move on then to Brahman Churlov.
Yes, thank you. So this is an application for severance. The applicant would like to sever their property known as Lot A into 3 severed lots and 1 retained lot for a total of 4 lots. The property is also subject to concurrent severance application for a lot addition, which you'll hear next. Comments received to date are from the public agencies or internal staff. Public Works has provided some of the following comments. Entrance permits are required for all new entrances, which should be added as a condition of approval. And the municipality requires a road widening along the subject properties, a minimum of 33 feet from the center line of the traveled road to the property line. The request is due to an encroachment of municipal infrastructure, ditch, culverts, etc. on the subject property. The severance application is an opportunity to clean up the encroachments, and therefore it is recommended that council consider implementing this as a condition of approval. And as noted, these were not included in the resolution as conditions, as staff looked to council for direction related to these items. If council does deem appropriate, then council may wish to include the above noted conditions into the resolution for the severance application. Subject to council providing direction related to the above noted comments from Public Works, it is recommended that council support the general principle of the proposed severance proposal as submitted, subject to the included conditions and comments received through the public review process. And the applicant's agent is in attendance should council have any questions related to the application.
Chris, what's the one item that you wanted added in there? Or you don't let us hear that again?
Yeah, so I think it's the 2 that we'll have added in. That's a request. So it's just that the applicant apply for entrance permits,
Fair enough. You have to
which
do
is
that anyway.
yeah. And then the other one is that the municipality requires road widening along the subject property. They require a minimum of 33 feet from center line of traveled road for the property line, just for the encroachments that appear to sort of go on to the subject property.
Which is pretty typical when we're taking severances. Does the owner have any comment on any problem with any of these conditions?
I will defer that to the applicant's agent who is online right now.
He's here, he can comment.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Aditya Srinivas. I'm with EcoView. I'm a planner. And I'm representing Mr. Brian Brum and Mr. Churilov. I've not really had the opportunity to discuss this condition with the clients, but it's quite typical in my experience with other municipalities, so they should be okay with this.
Yeah. Well, it's almost standard that we do that when we're severing, so I doubt that we'll bend a little bit on that one. So other than that, the conditions are okay then, Chris, right?
The conditions, and then we'll have to add in those 2 conditions.
Yes, we'll add those into the resolutions.
Correct.
Okay, so is there any questions from council? Okay, so let's have a resolution then, Mallory, for number D.
Okay, I'll read it as is. I'll read the 2 things that have been added just to make it very clear. So be it resolved that council support the general principle for file number D00-SV-2022-17 for lands of Brun and Churilov, subject to the conditions outlined in the staff report. In addition to the requirement for entrance permits for the severed and retained portions where none exist. And that the municipality will require a road widening along the subject properties, with a minimum of 33 feet from the center line of the traveled road to the property line. Does that make sense, Chris?
I think so. Jeff, do you have any additional comments you may want to add into that?
No, thank you. I think that makes sense as long as the condition states that they will convey us that land for road widening.
Okay, you've heard that resolution then, all in favor? Tammy and Barry, all in favor? Carried. Okay, then number E.
Yes, thank you. So this is still continuing. This is for a lot addition of the same subject property. The applicant would like to convey and merge their lands known as Lot 4, which will be created by the current severance application, which you just heard, with the benefiting lot to form one larger lot as shown on the attached severance sketch. And it is recommended that council support the general principle of the proposed severance proposal as submitted, subject to the included conditions and comments received through the public review process.
Okay. Pretty straightforward, I believe. Mallory, I guess we could have that resolution.
Okay. Yep, I'm not muted. Be it resolved that council support the general principle for file number D00-SV-2024-006, lands at Brahman Churilov, subject to the conditions outlined in the staff report.
Does the owner have any comments? You good?
Yeah, I've got nothing to add. Thank you.
Okay, okay, mover and seconder then. Tammy and Pat, all in favor? Carried. Thank you, sir. Okay, next. The
Yes.
Emerson,
Yes, this is for D00SV-2024-004 for lands of Emerson. The applicant proposes to subdivide the subject property into 3 parcels to create 2 new severed lots and 1 retained lot for the intended uses of rural residential. The property is subject to a concurrent severance agreement to ensure that the proposed lots are developed in accordance with the municipal policy and per the recommended mitigation measures of the supporting environmental study. It is recommended that council support the general principle of the proposed severance proposal as submitted, subject to the included conditions and comments received through the public process. And I believe that the applicant's agents are in attendance for any questions council may have.
okay. So do you have any comments from the owners then, or? Okay, so
I'm good.
do you have any difficulty with any conditions?
Absolutely not.
Okay. I didn't catch that.
Yeah, Murray, I know that we grew up in the Old Down Road. I
Yeah.
know I went up there the other day and everything's,
Everything's good.
everything looks great.
I think I know the property too. It's good, yeah.
You bet. It's all good.
Yeah, it's all good. Okay, so resolution and Mallory?
Okay. Be it resolved that council supports the general principle for file number D00-SV-2024-004, lands of Emerson, subject to the conditions outlined in the staff report.
Mover and seconder, Pat and Walt, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, next. Number G. I guess that's that's our Rogers again, right?
Correct. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes, okay, thank you. Yes, this is the proposal by Rogers to submit or to construct a 91.5 meter tall tower on Pivot Lake, and this is part of the Eorn project. During the public consultation process, comments were received from one member of the public. They had questions about the proposed tower and potential impacts on the property and the local environment. Their concerns seemed to be centered around animal movement, water runoff, hunting, and timber harvesting. The applicants responded that the proposed installation does not meet the requirements for an environmental assessment, as outlined by the Ministry of Environment. The applicants clarified that all water courses have been identified by land surveyors and measures will be taken to ensure that they are not disturbed. Lastly, they do attest that the tower will at all times comply with the health standards established by Health Canada via Safety Code 6. They have completed the public consultation process and are now formally requesting a statement of concurrence. Staff have provided a couple conditions in the recommended resolution. It should be noted that both Christian Lee and Eric Belchamber are in attendance. Should council have any questions about this proposal?
Does council have any questions on this? No? Well, we're all in agreement here, I guess. So I guess we're good for a resolution then, Mallory.
Okay, be it resolved that council concurs with the proposed 91.5 meter guide to telecommunication tower site C8612, part lot 15, concession 6 in the geographic township of Guilford. The existing vegetation buffer shall be maintained around the proposed tower. The tower access road is to be designed and screened with vegetation to minimize the visual impact of the tower by immediate neighbors. Lighting shall be the minimum required to meet safety standards, and shielding shall be installed to deflect the light from being directed toward the ground.
Okay, mover and seconder, Carm and Pat, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Okay.
you.
I think we should take a 10-minute break. Well, Barbara's on there. I thought Dan's next on the agenda. There he is.
Good morning. Can you hear
Morning,
me?
Dan.
All right.
Okay, do you want to fire away?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor and members council. Just have one of our basic reports there this month. So unless there's any questions that come up from you, our call volumes kind of status quo as far as last year and where we intend to be as far as where we expect to be by the end of this year, aiming for well over 400 calls again, unfortunately. It's the fact that it's emergencies. But if you don't mind, since I don't have anything else to act, I wouldn't mind taking a couple minutes to embellish upon my notes there and talk about some of the public education stuff that we participated in.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you very much. So specifically, May 1st was First Responders Day, and throughout the county, all of the fire departments, emergency services, and OPP medical all hosted open houses, and we had a very good turnout for that. Really good chance for public education, chance to talk to parents and kids about escape plans and maybe smoke alarm updates and stuff like that, so which is part of our mandate as far as the fire department goes. We also participated in 50th anniversary opening at the Home Hardware, same sort of thing, a chance to talk to the public. Lots of people coming out to see those sorts of things. As well as there was a job fair hosted by the Haliburton County Home Builders Association, which we were able to participate in at the high school. So I would like to really appreciate the chance to say thank you publicly to all of our firefighters for putting in the extra time over and above our calls to participate in those things. We also had an outstanding training opportunity. The Mobile Live Fire Training Unit, which is provided by the Fire Marshal's office, that was the sort of their compensation for closing the college, was brought to Minden at the end of April, early May there, and 13 of our firefighters were able to take time and participate in a training opportunity. So live fire training, it's all well controlled with propane units, but it's set up in such a way that we can do search and rescue and have a chance to really apply water to a fire in a fully controlled environment. And so I want to say thank you very much again for the firefighters participating in that. We were also invited down to Silver Beach to participate in a mock disaster because they have a very large propane facility, which is similar to the high school, and J.D. Hodgson Elementary School there also have these type of facilities. So it's very good for us to get a chance to do a hands-on training opportunity to see how we would respond to these kind of things. So thank you very much for that. And the only other comment I have is really want to just comment that the new updated burn bylaw, I've had a really good response from here at the fire department as far as, you know, burn permits and as far as people complying with it and understanding it and being really accepting of the updated bylaw that you approved at the end of March for me. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Dan. Any questions or? Okay, thank you. We'll see you Friday.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Okay, okay, next.
I'll read the resolution here. Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the fire department report for April 2024.
Mover and seconder. Pat and Nancy, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Who's doing the next one here? Is that the one we're trying to get organized here? So what do you want us to do with this? Do you want us to bring back a recommendation about what we talked about? And put it in the fee bylaw?
Sorry, I didn't catch everything you just said there.
I'm just trying to figure out what we're going to do with this to get it in the fee bylaw next month. Yeah, well, you can make the decision right now if you want. Okay. Okay, tell us what you think it is.
Well, one thing I do have to say is the resolutions would change. I did speak to Olivia last week, but it was after the report was written and submitted. She's looking for permission to use the band shell in July and August, and it's from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. As I was mentioning, the classes are 30 minutes in length with a 15-minute break in between. So she's using time to just get prepared for the next class and then for herself to have a break as well. But she's looking for permission to use the band shell in July and August. And so I guess if there's going to be fees, we should propose fees based on the discussion, based on right. I don't know what you want me to say right now. If you want me to say if it should for like a half-day fee or a full-day fee, or the amount of the fee, if it's $100 or
I think we agreed on more than 2 hours. 2 hours or more.
So, does council only wishes to charge for-profit organizations and groups, correct?
Yep.
Okay. And then this would just be for Head Lake Park. And then how does council agree to the fee structure working?
Well, I hate to be the one, but okay, somebody's got to say something here. Okay, so what we're proposing is that if it's 2 hours or longer, it's $100 for use of the band shell. If you need, you can use the band shell and the rest of the park, excluding the playground area, for $250. Is that right? And if you're a service club, you're exempt. And because you're pouring the money back into the community, which Rotary and Lions do, I don't see that should be a difficult decision. And I guess we have the boat races, but they would fit into that 250 too, so that they'll comply. So I think we probably got it covered with the $100 fee for anything when you start. So does that make sense, Mallory?
Yeah, I can read a resolution and we can try to tweak it if it doesn't sound good. So be it resolved that council, oh, sorry, Andrew, you go ahead.
I just have a question, just because so the boat races you're saying would pay the $250 per day, as well as like arts and crafts festival, or for instance, like the summer sizzling worship service would pay then the $100 fee because they'd just be using the band shell. Just so I'm clear and I'm understanding.
Yeah. So do they have the services there once a year, don't they?
That's correct. Yeah.
They don't pay anything now. They pay the $100, I guess.
Yeah, they pay the park use application and they pay the
Okay, well, it's okay. That doesn't change then.
So the $100 band shell fee, do they pay that plus in addition the application fee of $100 for the first initial application? Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah. If it's a service club though, we wouldn't be charging them anything, I guess. Yeah.
No, it's just the first time application.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a first time application. Yeah. Okay. Let's hear it, Mallory.
Okay. Be it resolved that council directs staff to return to June council with an updated fee bylaw that incorporates the following fees for Head Lake Park rentals. 1, for-profit organizations and groups reserving the band shell for 2 hours and over will be charged $100 per day. And 2, for-profit organization groups reserving Head Lake Park, excluding the playground, for 2 hours and over will be charged $250 per day. I think I have to put per day because some events are reoccurring.
You can't use for profit because they don't have to show a profit because they can pay themselves. So we have to say service clubs or something.
Yeah, it's just the service clubs are exempt and anybody else can be subject to these fees.
Okay, so groups and organizations. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I'll say that. So organizations and groups, and then I'll say at the end, service clubs. Do you want me to just say service clubs though?
Well, I think that covers it.
Okay, service clubs and organizations donating back into the community. Is that how you want to say it?
Yeah, that's fair.
Donating back into the community are exempt.
Yeah, I just leave it at service clubs. Local.
Okay, service clubs. Okay.
Local service clubs, not somebody from a...
Sure. So local service clubs are exempt.
Yeah.
From these charges.
Right.
Okay. So that I've added that as a 0.3, just so it's clear. Does that sound good to council?
That sound okay? I think so. I think we got it. So that's the resolution then, so we need a mover and seconder? Or do you, Carm and Pat, all in favor? Carried. So we'll have that in June.
That will be in June. We'll notice for it this month.
And we can always say to the groups, they can go to the other side. They don't have to use not forced to use the band shell and pay for it. They can go to the other side.
Yeah.
And, for free, so. Okay, Rotary Club,
Yeah, so the Rotary Club has requested a fee waiver for the use of the washrooms during Rotary Music in the Park for the 2024 season. They start at the end of June and go until the end of August on Tuesday evenings. They're ending a bit earlier. The music is ending at 8 p.m. Around 8:30, they have cleanup and they're done. So right now the Welcome Center is open until 5 p.m. daily. So you'd be looking at extending the washroom use for another 3 to 3.5 hours. So there's I've put out 3 different possibilities. One is to charge the full fee, which is $137.50 per evening. The other is to charge a flat rate of $100 per evening, or the third is to waive the fees.
and that's what the council did in the past. They waived it, did they?
That's correct, yes.
Well, I don't know. So does the information booth have to stay open, or can Parks close the washroom?
The information booth stays open. The park staff finish their day at 3 p.m. So we have a staff member there and they try to provide information. People come in to get water too during that time.
Okay, so we have that resolution then, Mallory?
Would you like to waive?
Yeah.
Okay, be it resolved, the
It's
council waives the Welcome Center washroom fees for the Haliburton Rotary Club's Rotary Music in the Park for the 2024 season.
All in favor? Carried?
Did we get a mover and seconder for that?
Yeah, Barry and.
Sorry. Barry and Carm.
Did you not
Okay.
hear me say that?
No, I didn't.
No.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Okay, Rails End and Gallery, request for washroom waiver fees there.
Yeah, a similar request. Their event obviously is a bit different, the hours and the usage. So they're looking for extra additional usage of the washrooms the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, being a total of the fee would be $200 a night if you were looking at the one structure. What am I trying to say?
Do they require the washrooms open later than 5 o'clock too?
They do on the Friday evening and the Saturday evening. She's requested them to be open a bit longer. I don't have her letter open, but it inside the letter it says, oh, just a second, here we go. She's looking for the washrooms to be open an additional from 5 p.m. until 9 p.m. on July 27th and 28th. Otherwise, she's looking at just all the washrooms being available during the day, during the event, but she is looking for an additional 4 hours on 2 of the evenings.
And what were your proposing fees were?
If you look at it based on what has been requested, there's the option to charge, like we have a flat fee and then the washroom fee. So for 2 additional washrooms for the number of hours she's looking at, you'd be looking at $200 an evening. So the total net for 2 evenings that we would be getting is $194, or to charge the flat fee of $100 per $100, or again to waive the fees.
So they are subject to our other fee.
Yeah.
That we just changed,
Yeah,
or just they have to pay that
250,
also,
they
right?
get the 250 too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And what have we previously done with this group then?
It's previously been waived.
they bring a pile of people to town too, you know, like that.
I guess if they're already gonna be paying $250 a day, on our new fee structure, right?
That'll be 3 days we're gonna get.
So I'm I'm okay with them,
Yeah, so I'm
with waiving the fee.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna waive that one too. Because we're gonna charge them the $250 per day.
Okay, be it resolved that council waives the Welcome Center washroom fees for the 2024 Rails and Gallery and Arts Center and Craft Festival.
Mover and seconder, Nancy and Pat, all in favor? Carried. Now, Tammy, you're gonna have to do a selling job on this one.
So the ladies committee has requested, it says to relieve half-day rental fees for specific events. It would be nice just to put a generic, like not-for-profit over across the board, because if some other volunteer organization comes in that they will not charge for, it would be nice that they don't have to come back here just for one other volunteer group. So if we could just say that the not-for-profit local organizations, that way they don't have to come back for that. They've been doing it for 50 years
Yeah.
that way.
And is this something they sponsor then?
It has always been that the volunteers, where they have the fire and the food bank, I think.
Right.
They let them come in and use the hall and don't charge them. But it's always been that way
Okay,
because they're a community group.
That's always still pretty. Charge of celebration of life.
no. It wouldn't be any different at West Guilford. No. Well, I guess, I mean, they do a pile of work, the ladies do. I don't mind giving them a little bit here.
Oh, I don't want, yeah, give them a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't want to risk losing these people. They do it.
No,
They do it.
it's hard enough to get
They
volunteers.
do it's tremendous service, both.
Yeah,
And Murray, don't forget too, when we have, I don't mean, this doesn't sound good, but when we have a celebration of life, let's say there, and 100 people show up, and they're like, oh my, I've never been in here. This is really nice. And then they come and rent it for some. So it's
Yeah.
kind of a bad way to get publicity, but
It works.
It does work. It
Yeah.
really does work.
okay, so now, are you good with that, Mallory? We're
Yeah,
giving them what they asked for.
Yeah, okay, so I'll read it the way that I understand this. So be it resolved that council approves the request from the Harcourt Ladies Committee to waive half-day rental fees for the following events. A, celebration of life for area residents and taxpayers. B, appreciation dinners celebrating area volunteers, volunteer firefighters, Food Network volunteers. And C, events run by local not-for-profit organizations. Is that the way council wants it?
Yeah.
I could barely hear that, but everybody was. Okay,
Do you want me to repeat what I added?
You're very, very quiet again, Mel.
I don't know what's happening.
That's better.
So, I added, point C, which is events run by local not-for-profit organizations.
okay. Okay,
Is that the way council wants it?
yeah, that's what she wanted. Okay, mover and seconder then. Tammy and Carm, all in favor? Carried. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, now another favorite subject, the mat tax. The only thing that I wanted to make clear here, that the mat tax doesn't go on the owner. It goes on the person renting. And I don't know whether that changes, whether we understood that when we voted on it or not.
So Murray, just from the feedback I've got from some owners, that the tax and the tax and the tax and the tax, people are starting to pull away from wanting to rent because of all the taxes. So they were quite happy that we did go with the 2% just to keep people coming and so they could keep their costs down, obviously. So
Yeah, no, it's
I
not a
haven't heard
big,
any negative from.
yeah,
I
it's
have
not a big amount, but
No. It's just one more tax.
yeah, it's still more money. It's 2%. If you're paying $1,000, it's 2% of $1,000. So everybody's happy leaving it? Okay, Okay, I guess we're gonna have Carl next.
I'll just read a resolution to make sure we clean it up here. So be it resolved that council directs that the municipal accommodation tax will remain at 2%.
Okay, mover and seconder. Nancy and Carm, all in favor? Carried. Okay, now Carl.
Good morning, council. So we'll start with the April building permit activity report. You'll notice that in April, the permit numbers were up. However, construction value was down, meaning that we issued permits for a lot of smaller projects. You'll notice that the construction or the permit fees received were also a little bit less because of the smaller projects that were issued. Any questions on that report?
Any questions? No, and then we can do a resolution on that.
Okay. Be it resolved that council received the April 2024 building permit activity report as information.
Mover and seconder. Walt and Pat, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, next is the appointment of Noella.
Yeah, so many of you might remember Noella. She started off as our permit clerk, and she went on maternity leave, came back as our permit clerk, and then she left shortly for the planning department. Now she's back as a building inspector with the building department. She's been successful passing the ministry exams, and she's going to be doing most of our plan review, which will push me out into the field. She fills the void left by Eric Gay.
So glad to have her back. So we definitely need it.
Good for her to
Yeah.
do all that.
Good. Okay, resolution then.
Be it resolved that bylaw 2024-54, being a bylaw to appoint Noella Floyd Folds as building inspector under the Ontario Building Code Act for the municipality of Dysart et al., be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Mover and seconder. Tammy and Barry, all in favor? Carried. Okay, and I guess Haley's next, Carl, then?
I don't see her on the screen, but I can take the bylaw report. So the bylaw report we added as requested last month. We added a specific column for site alteration. So we have the information for the specific site alteration infractions that we've been investigating. There's been like 6 in total so far. That doesn't include the instances when the building department goes on site for inspections and we see, that there should be, silt control measures, those types of things. Where we do public education on site. Oh, Haley's on site now or on the screen now, so she'll take over.
Yeah, sorry about that, everybody. My invitation didn't come through until you already got to me. Yeah, as Carl was saying, we've added the site alteration tracking information to the bylaw update report. We're still seeing that same increase that we've been seeing for the past couple of months in incoming complaints. I'm on my own for right now, so I'm working on managing that intake, but so far so good. If there's any questions about anything on here.
Any questions? No, I think you're going to be busy for summer here.
Definitely.
Okay, resolution then?
Be it resolved that council accepts the bylaw update report for May 2024 as information.
Okay, mover and seconder. Nancy and Pat, all in favor? Carried. Okay, thank you, Haley and Carl. Okay, Public Works. Okay. Okay, we got Dave on there. Is Rob coming today?
Yeah, he's here.
Yeah, there he is. Okay. First is a letter for information from the Kenice Lake Cottage Association. They just wanted to make sure it was on the agenda. I think Carm answered their questions at the last Saturday at the annual meeting. And I think they know what we're doing this year. And have a clear understanding, so. The council will obviously have seen that, so we need a resolution just to say that we accept it. Mallory?
Yep. Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the letter from the Kinesis Lake Cottage Owners Association expressing concern over the current state of Watts Road.
Yeah, and I think we all know how bad Watts Road is. Anyway, we're working on it, so. Okay, mover and seconder. Carm and Walt, all in favor? Carried. Okay, road status report.
Okay, so the road status report for April 2024. We have our construction, which has been ongoing for Percy Lake Road, which is ditching and culvert replacement as needed. Miller Paving is currently in town and will be starting surface treatment when weather permits. Emergency washouts. So Hoodner Road was reopened to 2 travel lanes since May 8th. Patching, cold patch operations ongoing for single surface treatment preparation and where needed. Road sweeping operations are ongoing, currently sweeping, preparing for the single surface treatment application that will be happening starting this week. Grading, maintenance grading operations ongoing as needed, and dust layers, so calcium chloride is being applied as needed also.
Okay, we this morning we had a delegation from Wonderland.
Yes.
We looked at that recently. Is that winter sand that's causing a problem there now, or?
So we've swept Wonderland Road twice this season. With the 5/8 application that we did put on the roadway, there's segregation between the stone, which holds a little bit more sand than usual. And basically that's the application that was applied last year, the 5/8 application by Miller Paving, so.
So that's a change, is it, Rob, from what we usually do?
For a preservation standpoint, yes. And just to clarify that road was not asphalt beforehand. Originally it was the surface you see now. It was a double class 2 surface, and then we put a slurry seal on top. It does look like asphalt. It is not asphalt. We got away from slurry seal only because we had trouble getting it done every year. We always seem to be last. And if you do it in the, excuse me, if you do it in the fall, you don't get very much coverage because it needs time to set up and to cure. So we brought in the class 2 overlay as part of our normal program. So we get done earlier in the year.
Rob, I'm just curious, is there any way that, needless to say, there's a big concern on that road? And I'm sure you've had a look at it also, Dave, and a lot of the council has also. But I'm just wondering, do you have a plan here that can solve this problem with the stone that's on the road that seems to be causing the problem? Is there,
I mean,
can you put another slurry seal over it? Would that do any?
Yeah, you could improve it for money, of course. But no matter what you do on Wonderland, you're going to have the same issue on Curry Drive this year, Percy Lake this year. It's the same surface. So if we're looking for what I'll call a more premium surface, we can do that. It just costs more money. That's all.
But needless to say, it doesn't seem to be making the people very happy on Wonderland right now. There's a lot of people walking, and I mean, just wondering if there's anything that we can do to improve the situation.
Rob, one more question for you too. What would the cost per foot or something of a slurry seal, or per kilometer or whatever, what would that be? Or do you know?
Slurry seal we haven't used in a few years. What I can tell you is if we went to like a premium aggregate the county uses, your costs are going up somewhere in the range of 40 and 50%. So, I mean, just from that perspective, if we went to a premium aggregate, you're cutting your road resurfacing back 40 to 50%.
Well, Rob, if we establish what really works over the long haul, and then do the math on what's not, and that's kind of where we're at now, I think. Like, if we do a class 2 overlay and it's not working fundamentally, then we gotta go back to, we know it works, if it means cutting back the amount of kilometers we do in a year to make it all work for everybody. Cause I do know that double overlay you did before, that when they put the sewers in, last for quite a while on that note. Same up the harbor, but anyway. So in terms of dust suppression and stuff like that, that's definitely a no-go for calcium to keep the dust down, right? Cause it's too tough on the emulsion.
Yeah, if you spray the hard top, you're actually going to make it slippery, and you'll probably see some motorcycles and bicycles fall off the road.
Okay, so to me, the solution moving forward then is can we get Miller or yourself combined to come up with a solution to do an overlay on that, or slurry seal or something?
We can look at that with costing. So is this for Wonderland only, or is this on a go forward basis?
Well, I'd say that the traffic or the housing density is, I might be speaking out of turn for some of these other places, seems to be higher along
Yeah,
Wonderland.
both sides of the road, lake and front.
Right. So at this point, I would suggest that maybe just we see what the numbers are for Wonderland, and then we go from there, depending on if it's a huge issue in the other areas.
Ali, Rob, I just think that we should definitely be prepared for Curry. Like you're saying, if it's going to be the same problem there, then we're going to be hearing the same complaints. So I think it'd be really important that we get ahead of this situation. So seem to be, not that we're creating them, but the product doesn't seem to be fulfilling all the needs of our constituents. So I think we better get ahead of it if we could, please.
Rob, could you use 1/2 inch instead of 5/8?
If you get smaller stone, you get into a washed product, which you're getting into the premium aggregates, which is going to drive the cost up too. So, I think we have to have more discussion on it, because my concern is we are setting the bar by going back and resurfacing this one particular road, because you are going to have concerns on Curry Drive as well.
Yeah, you might get away with Percy, but not Curry. They got places close to the lake too. Well, surely, maybe it's resolved itself a bit, but it sounds like the stones are still sticking up through I don't know. I haven't had a look at it, but I will go down and see.
That's the nature of class 2.
Okay.
Even if we just investigate the idea of a slurry seal on top of this, and just come up with a cost of some sort, and then we can say, no, you know what, that's right out of we can't do it, or maybe we can do it. I don't know.
Is there an asphalt sealer you can put on it? Like
that's slurry seal.
That is slurry seal. Okay, learned something today. Okay, so we'll move on then. You have a look at that. Exit sign on Canyon Road. I guess that's you, Dave.
Just read the resolution for that previous one first. That's okay. Be it resolved that council receives this report outlining road maintenance activities for April 2024 as information.
Mover and seconder. Tammy and Walt, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Now
I'll take this one on the no exit sign, Mayor. So these requests are not unusual. They are generally turned down, in that the no exit signs are typically to discourage through traffic from going through like a local road or that type of thing. The concern with this request is it's people looking for a certain address, and I don't feel that this type of sign is going to prevent people from going down a road looking for an address.
So it's not going to do anything then.
I don't believe it will. I don't think that was the intent of the sign. It was for through traffic only. Once you get back that far in, you're not going through anywhere. So.
Okay. Any question about that? So we're denying that then. Okay, Mallory? Okay.
I just have a question. Is it so it's not a through road?
No.
So, and if you put it at how long's the road?
1/2 a kilometer, I would say. I don't know off the top of my head. It's not very long.
And so who's requesting the no exit signs?
somebody who lives on Canyon Road. So they have vehicles going by their house looking for a certain address.
And that address isn't there?
According to them, no. But we don't know what address they're looking for. It wasn't specified.
So it's probably a mistake.
Yeah.
It could be, yeah.
How much does it cost to put the no exit signs up?
About $200. I will caution you'll be putting a lot of these signs up.
Every dead end road would probably argue the same thing. Google's not good. It takes you down the wrong road.
I don't think that the no exit signs then is going to make a difference because they're looking for that specific address and it's wrong on Google. So they need to go to Google and fix that problem, not have an exit
Yeah,
sign.
yeah. Yeah, good point. Okay, resolution then, Mallory?
Be it resolved that council receive this request to place a no exit sign on Canyon Road and that council deny the request.
Okay, mover and seconder, Pat and Nancy, all in favor? Carried. Okay, tender results.
Excuse me, can I just ask one quick question?
Yes.
At the end, it's not to do with the resolution, but what would happen if the people down that road, Rob, just put their own sign up saying private lane, no exit or something? But we wouldn't allow that, I guess, right?
If it's a private road, and I do believe it does turn into private, we have no issues if they put a sign up. It's quite common, actually.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Now the tender results.
Yeah, sorry about that, man. Yeah, so last but not least, this is the result of the Cold Lake asphalt tender. We did have 3 submissions. One of them was rejected for compliance issues at the tendering process. So 2 were considered for the work, and Miller Paving was low bid at just shy of $740,000. With this number, we are expecting a shortfall in our capital project budget of about $70,000, which is about 3%. Just of note, we do not have any contingency built into these projects, so we run pretty lean anyways. So we're pretty happy with the 3% shortfall at this point, and we're pretty confident we can cover that with the operating budget.
Good, that's good news.
Is this the same stuff you're gonna use on Helbium next year, Rob, or is this different?
It's the same that we used on Kiefer last year, and we will be having discussions on Helbium for next year for sure.
Okay, so performance wise, it's working out okay. Is that right?
It's working as expected. Say it's only been down for half a year, so hopefully this time next year we'll know better, but we're very happy with what we've seen so far.
Okay, and not to throw this in your lap, but just making sure there's a performance warranty there that if it falls apart because it's a new product, we're not on the hook for it. They can come back and sort it out.
Yeah, there's 12-month on it, so which is standard.
Okay.
Okay. Resolution in Mallory?
Be it resolved that council award the work of supplying and placing open graded cold laid asphalt as outlined in RFT 2024-PW-05 to Miller Paving Limited for a cost of $739,900 excluding HST, and that the work be funded by the Road Capital Reserve.
Okay, mover and seconder. Carm and Pat, all in favor? Carried. Well, yeah, we can before he leaves, yeah.
Carm, getting a lot of static over that cold patch on the on Maple and York, and patching up paver stones that are seeming to breaking down. I don't know if it's from the grader or whether it's just the product.
Fireworks.
Try that again. Anyway, just looking for some different ideas on that. I don't know if can you pull out the old pavers, put new ones in, or go with a cement product or something like that until we get the funds to do a full sidewalk curb repair. Like, I know we'll have to do it every year, but we got to do something different than what we're doing. We're getting, people tracking that stuff in their cars and in their businesses, and doesn't look very good either on the BIA side, and even anybody you talk to, so. I know it's more money you don't have in certain areas, but we got to come up with a different solution for that. If there's a way we can maybe collectively get our heads around it.
Okay, so does Is this require a meeting out on site perhaps, just to bounce some ideas, spitball?
That would be great if you, we'll carve some time out and make that work, for sure.
Well,
Yeah, another question that is not on the agenda, but I've been hearing some concerns over the last month or so, and I've been over to the landfill site in Halliburton. And it's in regard to the bins, of course. And I'm just, I know that they've moved some barriers so that there's not a gap between the bin and the wall. It's helped. But I'm still hearing concerns in regard to the height. And I'm just wondering, Rob, is there anything that we can do in regard to the height of the bins for the elderly or the people that aren't physically strong enough to lift a heavy bag up into the bin? I just think that it's something that we should look into. I don't know what's involved myself, but if it could be lowered a bit, I think it would really help the community a lot.
Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot we can do until we revamp the site and actually get into some proper construction practices. The concern with maybe digging down to lower the bins is you undermine the wall that's there now, which does not have a proper foundation. And if we go higher, then we risk the wall falling over too, because it's built on garbage. So I think we just kind of have to live with it until hopefully next year we can start some bin locations next year for the revamp at Halliburton. And we're expecting something to come back to council next month on the latest draft for Halliburton in particular.
How much height are we looking at, Walt? You think?
I don't know, but maybe a foot or a couple of feet.
What's that? I was gonna say put a lift in it.
Yeah. Well, I think also, I just overheard Nancy there saying is a good idea is if maybe if there was especially when we're coming into June, July, August, September here, very busy months, when the attendants were, and I know they're up there a lot, but maybe if there was an attendant there all the time, it would really help with the elderly or handicapped people getting the garbage into the bin. So, yeah, so I'm just trying to I'm hearing these concerns, so I just want to get some type of an answer, Rob, from it. I'm not trying to create more work for you. You got enough, I understand, but it's definitely a concern.
So could you raise the driveway up 6 inches or coming in? So you'd be standing 6 inches higher.
To me, that would be the quickest fix. And with no offense, I haven't seen it, so we could take a look, maybe look at it at the same time we look at the sidewalks, Rob, if it makes sense. I'm not.
Okay.
Again, we're not trying to trump you, and we beat you up enough today, so I think that's about it for
And your
today.
concern, Rob, of raising it up is too much pressure on the retaining walls, what you're saying, right?
Yeah, there's no anchoring in place. There's no foundation. Those blocks aren't tied into anything. So it's, as we say, it's sitting on garbage.
Okay, well, let's have a look anyway and just see if there's a possibility that it could come up a foot or something, would make it. They are pretty high, no doubt about it. Yeah.
Let me know when you guys are going for sure.
Okay, anything else for Rob? We did do that resolution, didn't we, Mallory?
Yes.
Yeah,
We
okay.
did.
Well,
Yeah.
thanks, guys. Can't hear for enough time.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Barb.
Good morning. Our first report here is the check summary report for April of 2024. Total disbursements were $1,499,283. Of that, $1,210,817 were comprised of vendor payments, and the balance is payroll.
Okay. Resolution then, Mallory?
Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the April 2024 check summary.
Mover and seconder, Nancy and Carm, all in favor? Carried. tax applications.
What we have here are section 357 write-offs. This is the first write-off for 2024. Total write-offs are $3,579. The municipal portion equates to $1,247.
Okay, and that's what, because buildings burned down or something, or?
Demolition, and then there were two properties where the property class was changed from commercial to residential.
Okay. Resolution then, Mallory?
Be it resolved that council authorizes tax adjustments for applications made under section 357 of the Municipal Act as amended as follows. Municipal portion, $1,247.06. County portion, $935.94. And education portion, $1,396.09.
Mover and seconder. Nancy and Pat, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Nordic Trail and Ski Club as lease.
So we have here the new lease for the ski garage that was relocated to Glebe Park. And so the lease here is a 5-year term. The annual lease amount is $1,500, and that is subject to the annual CPI increase. And basically, the terms are very similar to the previous lease agreement.
Everybody in agreement on that amount? Pretty good price. Anyway. Okay. Resolution then, Mallory.
Okay. Be it resolved that bylaw 2024-53 being a bylaw to authorize the lease agreement with Halberton Highlands Nordic Ski Trail and Ski Club be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Mover and seconder. Barry and Carm, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Thank you, Barb. Oh, you're on here for the next one? Who's doing this?
I wrote that one, so I'll take that.
Okay.
Let me drag this over so I can face you guys. I think when my mouth is away from my camera, you're not catching me. So we just did a quick update here of policy 37, which is the mileage allowance policy. So we've just clarified for council that the automatic what council can get reimbursed for mileage are council and committee meetings. And then if there's some sort of other meeting that's happened throughout the month, they would get pre-authorization through the mayor to get mileage for that. And then just so that finance has, we need to shorten the submission deadlines just to make it cleaner for finance. So what we're going to do is offer mileage logs to those that regularly submit them, and then just make sure that they're submitted within 30 days of the occurrence. So basically at every council meeting, we're gonna pass a mileage log sheet to council members in order to fill out for that month. And that's the update to the policy.
Yeah, so what would qualify to get mileage for a counselor? Because we are getting 1/3 of our income for that reason.
Yeah, so traditionally the policy has just been used for council and committee meetings. But if a counselor had something else they went to that was municipal business and they think that it should be covered, they can ask you if that's appropriate. It's just make sure that it removes staff from
I'll just
that
say no.
equation.
I'll just say no, and that'll be the end of that.
Yeah. But it does go to you. I mean, sometimes there's mandatory training and stuff like that we ask counselors to come in for as well. I don't know but traditionally the mileage policy has been for meetings, like official council or committee meetings.
Okay. So what have we been doing?
It depends on the member, like the council member, or what they submit, but just in the past it traditionally was, but in the policy it didn't actually say that. It said municipal business. But the way municipal business works these days is that people are on the road a bit more. So we just want to make sure that there is a way for them to request as well for other meetings, if possible.
Well, I just don't want to, because we're all in this together, I just don't want to get in it where one counselor is turning every little thing down, turning every little thing out, and everybody else is just doing it, you know?
Yeah,
so-
and it's a good reminder to counselors that drive quite a distance that they are able to submit their mileage for our
Yeah,
regular meetings as well.
That I understand. If you're driving,
Yeah.
like Tammy is, quite a way.
Yeah.
A different issue. Anyway, okay, well, we'll deal with it then.
Okay, I'll read the resolution. Be it resolved that council adopts policy 37 mileage allowance policy as written.
Okay, mover and seconder, Barry and Carm, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Accessible transportation.
This is me bringing this back. So we had a compliance analyst respond to our policy that we passed for the Dymo bus last month. And there were just a few suggested updates. I've outlined them here in the report, but basically just outlining a process for appeals, adding that you do get temporary eligibility if we haven't responded to an applicant within 13 days of receiving an application. People can now book the bus using email as well as phone. I added information about traveling with young children, about how you need to bring your own restraint system if you're going to do that. And just added clarification that if you have a regular standing arrangement, you can also book one-off trips. So once this is passed, I'll make any updates I need to our information that we have out there, and I'll send it back to the compliance analysts from the ministry, just so that we can finish up this process.
Okay. Any discussion on that? Okay, mover and seconder. Pat and Barry, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Okay, we're back with Chris and Jeff. Chris again?
Yeah, thank you. So we heard the lands of Morley this morning. Council and public had no comments or concerns, so the recommendation is to approve the zoning bylaw as provided.
Okay. Okay, any discussion on that? Okay, Mallory?
Okay, be it resolved that bylaw 2024-46 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2005-120 for the lands of Morley, which consists of part lot 16, concession 10, block G, plan 404 in the geographic township of Guilford, municipality of Dysart et al., which would change the zone on the subject property from rural type 1 zone to rural type 1-14 exception zone. Rural residential 22, exception zone and environmental protection zone be read a first, second, and third time, pass sign and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Okay, mover and seconder, Tammy and Carm, all in favor? Carried. Okay.
And the next one is for the lands of 160, 1603 Ontario Inc. and Elstone. Council heard this application this morning. There was no public comments or concerns, and the recommendation is to approve the zoning bylaw as provided.
Okay, yeah, I think that was pretty simple. Okay, Mallory?
Okay, be it resolved that bylaw 2024-47 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2005-120 for the lands of 1601603 Ontario Incorporated and Elstone, which consists of part lot 25, concession 3, part 6, registered plan 19R-2448 in the geographic township of Guilford, municipality of Dysart et al., which would change the zone on the subject property from general commercial zone and environmental protection zone to highway commercial zone and environmental protection zone. Be read a first, second, and third time, pass sign and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Okay, mover and seconder. Tammy and Carm, all in favor? Carried. Next. Bushel.
Yes, item C is a road closing bylaw and deeming bylaw related to an application to purchase the shore road allowance in front of the lands of Morse and Sour on Bushwolf Lake. The notice and circulation requirements for this application are complete and no particular concerns were received. Subject to council questions, staff recommend approval of both bylaws.
Okay, mover and seconder. Pat.
You want
And
me to?
I'll let you-
Sorry, it was at Pat and Walt. I can read it now, though.
Okay.
I've got them written down. Okay, be it resolved that bylaw 2024-48, being a bylaw to stop up, close, and convey a portion of the original shore road allowance in front of part lots 29 and 30, concession 1 in the geographic township of Guilford, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto. And further be it resolved that bylaw 2024-49, which is a bylaw to deem lot 11, registered plan 573, in the township of Havelock, not to be within a plan of subdivision for the purpose of section 50, subsection 3 of the Planning Act, as amended, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto. This bylaw is intended to allow lot 11 on registered plan 573 to merge with the shore road allowance, which has been closed and conveyed pursuant to bylaw 2024-48. So I've got Pat Casey and Walt McKechnie moving and seconding.
Yeah. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay. Next.
Item D is another road closing bylaw and deeming bylaw related to an application in front of the property of Culp on Halliburton Lake. The notice and circulation requirements are complete and no concerns were received. Again, subject to council questions, staff recommend approval of both bylaws.
I looked at those, it looked pretty straightforward. Okay, resolution.
Okay. Be it resolved that bylaw 2024-50, being a bylaw to stop up, close, and convey a portion of the original shore road allowance in front of part lot 14, concession 4 in the geographic township of Harborne, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto. And further be it resolved that bylaw 2024-51, which is a bylaw to deem lot 30 registered plan 331 in the township of Harborne, not to be within a plan of subdivision for the purpose of section 50, subsection 3 of the Planning Act, as amended, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto. This bylaw is intended to allow lot 30, registered plan 331, to merge with the shore road allowance, which has been closed and conveyed pursuant to bylaw 2024-50.
Okay, mover and seconder, Barry and Carm, all in favor? Carried. Next.
This item is a road closing bylaw to purchase the shore road allowance in front of the property of Smart and Smart 5 Holdings Incorporated on Drag Lake. This application is a condition of application for consent, which will divide the two lots into 4. So council has seen this a couple times recently. The notice and circulation requirements were completed and no particular concerns were received. Subject to council questions, staff recommend approval of the bylaw.
Discussion? Okay. Resolution.
Okay, be it resolved that bylaw 2024-52, being a bylaw to stop up, close, and convey a portion of the original road allowance in front of part lots 8 and 9, concession 9 in the geographic township of Dudley, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Mover and seconder, Walt and Pat, all in favor? Carried. Next.
So this is a new application by Mr. and Mrs. Axmit to purchase an original road allowance leading to Blue Hawk Lake, as well as the shore road allowance in front of their property on Blue Hawk Lake. The purpose of this application is to resolve encroachment issues and acknowledge how the land was developed. So as per the report, there is a lot going on with this request. There is an existing trail on the road allowance that is used for lake access. There are several boats left on the shore road allowance in this, the shoreline in this location. The applicants have noted that they do not intend to disrupt the existing public access point. In terms of development on the property, the existing dwelling, which is located partially on both the road allowances, was first assessed in 1952. The location of the original dwelling, including an addition from 1969, are recognized pursuant to the official plan. However, as outlined in the report, there are some zoning compliance issues on the subject lands. So if council decide to declare these lands surplus, staff have recommended separate conditions for the compliance issues located on the shore road allowance versus the ones located off the shore road allowance. In terms of the policy direction for the conveyance of road allowances, the official plan provides council direction. Section 3.27 of the official plan states that the municipality will not normally close and convey road allowances if the road allowances provide suitable access to a lake or if closing the road allowance would restrict existing public access, which in this instance, it does both. Having said that, that same section of the official plan also provides council with the discretion to limit the conveyance to a suitable building envelope around the encroachments. And based on the history of development on this property, which was mostly done with proper building permits, council may wish to consider conveying a suitable building envelope just to clear up these encroachments. Prior to doing so, though, staff recommend that council defer this application right now so that the Parks and Recreation Department can go out and review that trail and just provide recommendations to council for the preservation of that lake access point. I'm available if any questions are, if council has any questions on this one. It is a complicated request.
I think we need to be careful with this one.
Yeah.
It looks
Yeah.
really close to the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to defer it just to let the people go have a look at it. Who need to have a look at it.
Yeah, I think we should look at it pretty closely. It's gonna be it's all right to say you're not gonna change things, but when you get ownership, you can. So. Yeah. Not that I don't trust everybody, but it does happen. Okay, so I guess we're going to defer that, Mallory.
Okay, I'll read the resolution as it's written here. Be it resolved that council defers an application by Mr. and Mrs. Axamit to purchase a portion of the road allowance along Blue Hawk Lake to allow the Parks and Recreation Department to review the existing recreation trail and provide recommendations for the preservation of public access. And further, that council directs the bylaw enforcement department to review the subject lands for compliance issues with respect to applicable bylaws.
Okay, mover and seconder. Pat and Nancy, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Okay, next.
So item G, this is a request by Miss Armstrong to purchase the shore road allowance in front of her property on Little Kinesis Lake. There is a shed located on the property that does not comply with the water setback. So staff are recommending a condition that bylaw enforcement review that shed for compliance with the zoning bylaw. Other than that, staff request direction regarding that compliance issue and permission to process this application.
We all right with that? Okay, resolution.
Question.
Yeah,
Often,
Nancy?
often we just make it a condition to remove the shed, so why aren't we doing that now? Why are we having bylaw do that?
So historically, through the shore road allowance process or any road allowance process, we've only dealt with the structures on the road allowances at the time of the application process. So any compliance issues that aren't located on the road allowance, we've typically forwarded to the bylaw enforcement department.
So then how do we know the shed got removed?
Well, bylaw enforcement would follow up with it and provide them, I assume, an order to comply so they could remove it. They could apply for a minor variance application. There's several scenarios where they could try and bring that into compliance. They could also prove that it has legal non-complying status in that location. So in terms of council notice of being sure it got removed, I'm not sure how that would come back to you unless it was through the variance process. But by providing that resolution, it directs staff to make sure that that's brought into compliance.
So I guess we could add that we recommend it be removed in the resolution if we really wanted to.
That's true. Typically, we do word them in a way that that shed be removed or brought into compliance. And the word brought into compliance does provide the property owner with a lot of options because it could mean, as I said, proving the legal non-complying status of it, getting a minor variance, or removing it. So you could clarify that direction for the bylaw enforcement department.
Well, I think they'll do their thing, but they're short of staff in there right now. That it'll be a while before they get there. Okay.
You want me to read it, the resolution? Okay,
that would
be
be
resolved that council approves for processing an application by Miss Armstrong to purchase a portion of the shore road allowance along the shore of Little Kinesis Lake in front of their property in part lot 19, concession 5 in the geographic township of Havelock. These lands are declared surplus. And further, that council directs the bylaw enforcement department to review the frame shed for compliance with respect to applicable bylaws.
Okay, mover and seconder, Tammy and Carm, all in favor? Carried. Okay, next.
Another road closing application. So this is a new request from Mr. and Mrs. Kellett to purchase the shore road allowance in front of their property on Eagle Lake. They wish to demolish and rebuild their seasonal dwelling. The dwelling, which is partially located on the shore road allowance, was originally constructed in 1967. Its location would typically be recognized by the official plan given the date of construction. However, based on an internal review, there appear to be discrepancies between the original building permit and the existing development. So staff are once again recommending a condition that bylaw enforcement review this this property or this development for compliance with the zoning bylaw and that original building permit. I'm just seeking council direction regarding that compliance issue or potential compliance issue, I should say, and permission to process this application.
Okay, everybody okay with that? Okay, resolution then?
Okay, be it resolved that council approves for processing an application by Mr. and Mrs. Kellett to purchase a portion of the shore road allowance along the shore of Eagle Lake in front of their property in part lot 29, concession 3 in the geographic township of Guilford. These lands are declared surplus. And further that council directs the bylaw department to review the screen sunroom and attached deck in conformance with the zoning bylaw and building permit application from 1991.
Mover and seconder? Walt and Pat, all in favor? Carried. Okay, next.
This item is a request for permission to cross a 1-foot reserve. Marta Yusak and Gertie Andriolari own a property on Liswood Road. They are planning to build a dwelling on their property and currently seeking an entrance permit. They are requesting permission to cross that 1-foot reserve for their proposed driveway. We did circulate the Public Works Department on this and they have no concerns with this request. Subject to any council questions, staff recommend approval of this request.
Where is that? I should have. That's on?
It's on Liswood Road, just past Glen
Oh, yeah,
Lake.
okay.
Yeah.
I did see that too. Okay. Resolution then?
Be it resolved that council grants permission for the registered owners of part lot 32, concession 2 in the geographic township of Guilford to cross the 1-foot reserve on Liswood Road identified on plan 532 and 582 and shown in the attached site plan sketches.
Okay, mover and seconder. Nancy and Barry, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Next.
Okay, so item J is a license of occupation request. Mirzak Vyacheslav, a property owner on Nimigon Lane, is requesting a license of occupation to permit a dock and stairs to be located on a municipally owned road allowance which leads to Grass Lake. Policy number 32, which is our policy to guide the use of unopened road allowances, provides council direction regarding this request. Policy 32 states that the municipality will not generally permit the use of unopened road allowances which lead to lakes for docking purposes or for private docking purposes. The intent of this policy is just to clarify that road allowances, to clarify that road allowances are for public use and should be preserved for long-term public use. In addition, in reviewing the planning policy documents, the official plan identifies the area in front of this road allowance as critical fish habitat and states that no site alteration or development should occur on this road allowance unless an environmental impact study has been completed. It also should be noted that there is a marina located to the east of the subject road allowance. If the applicants are looking for docking facilities, they may be able to accommodate this request. But subject to council questions, based on the direction provided by our policy, based on the existing site constraints I've listed in the report, and given that there are alternative options available to the applicant, staff recommend that council deny this request. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
I would agree with you. That's been here probably 10 times that I know about. And if you grant this one, there's other people on the back lots too. There could be a lot of people want to use the water there. Okay, resolution.
Okay, be it resolved that council denies a request for a license of occupation agreement with Vyacheslav for use of part of the original road allowance between lots 10 and 11, concession 8 in the geographic township of Dysart, and further that council directs the bylaw enforcement department to review the subject lands for compliance issues with respect to applicable bylaws.
Okay, mover and seconder. Pat and Nancy again, all in favor? Carried. Okay, next.
Yeah, the next one is item K, which is a severance proposal for the lands of Harcourt Park, lease holding of Sexton. The application proposes to amend and redesignate the existing land lease holding known as Part 6 Concession 7 and 8 on Plan East Lake Parcel 50, located in Harcourt Park by merging lands known as Part 2 Plan 19R 10448 of the original road allowance with the subject property. The application will also see the adjacent lot legally known as Part Lot 6 Concession 7-8 Parcel 49 amend with the lease to convey and merge with the subject lands to form one larger leased parcel. No comments or concerns have been received, and it is recommended that council support the general principle of the proposed severance proposal as submitted, subject to the included conditions and comments received through the public review process.
Okay. Resolution?
Okay, be it resolved that council support the general principle of a proposal for consent file number D00-SV-2024-002, lands of Harcourt Park Incorporated, leaseholding of Sexton, subject to the conditions outlined in the staff report.
Mover and seconder. Tammy and Walt, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Thank you, Chris and Jeff.
Thanks. Have a good day, everyone.
Yeah. Okay, reports on committees. Harcourt. Tammy?
They just have they wanted me to mention that they're having on June 15th, the community yard sale. So they've got that going and they have a wedding booked for September.
Okay,
And they're working.
good. West Guilford?
We have a meeting actually next week, Murray. We didn't have it last night, so people couldn't come, but we're trying to get stuff going. We're actually planning on having a candidate event this year and fireworks,
Good.
fire band permitting, hopefully.
Yeah, that'll be the first for a few years then.
Yeah.
Okay. Rails End, Nancy?
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend their last meeting, but they are a busy bunch of humans. They've got quite a few monthly and weekly events. They've got the ukuleles, they've got drum circle. Right now, there's something going on called Grounds for Goodness, and I think last week they had an interview and a long conversation with a 96-year-old Alberton County resident, and he went to the Rails End this station, and it was just a really good remembrance and see the involvement of the community and the lifestyle and all those things. So they have all those things available, and they are really looking forward to their craft sale. I think they've got all their vendors lined up, and they'll be very appreciative and
Yeah.
of the washroom
Yeah.
waiver fee.
Good. Okay, resolution, Mallory?
Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the May 2024 Rails and Gallery and Arts Center report.
Any discussion? All in favor? Pat and Nancy, all in favor? Good. Okay, BIA, Pat?
Murray, great meeting last week there at McKex. They started a subcommittee for the Midnight Madness, putting that together, but also with Tamara's help here, got together a working list that we're going to hand out and email out to everybody in town for trying to keep the pigeon control in order. We're having a lot of, pigeon crap all over the
Yeah.
sidewalks and
Just
anyway,
awful.
so guidelines as to what to do with it and everything else. So we're gonna put that out to everybody and get some traction with that. So.
Let's hope we get the food under control.
Yep.
That's what's keeping them here.
Yeah, food and just blocking up the outsides of the buildings like soffit and fascia and stuff like that. Very simple things to do, but also just good for the health and
Yeah.
and community on that
Yeah,
note.
it's
So,
not a good image when you come to town for sure.
no,
Thanks. And do you have anything in harvest?
no.
Okay. Kawartha, Halliburton, source protection, Walt? No. And Upper Trent Management, Barry, you were on one of those, weren't you? Oh, okay. Okay, Upper Trent,
I haven't.
okay. Well, you can't give a report. Cannot, okay. Okay, so I'm gonna say we'll have a short break and then we'll do closed session.
You want to move into close before the break, just so we don't have to come back out?
Whatever you'd like.
All right, that's what I like to hear.
Let's do that.
Okay. Be it resolved that council adjourn its regular meeting at 11:19 a.m. to discuss matter pursuant to section 239 subsection 2, the municipal act is amended pertaining to 1, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, and that's the Cultural Resources Committee member recruitment. 2, a proposed disposition of lands in the township of Dysart, Wonderland Road and Unicorn Road, and labor relations or employee negotiations, and that's the finance department.
Okay, mover and seconder. Carmen, Walt, all in favor? Carried. Okay, we're back. Resolution then, Mallory?
Yeah, so the first resolution is to pass the appointment bylaw. So be it resolved that council appoints Jennifer Rieger to serve as a community representative on the Cultural Resources Committee for the remainder of the 2022 to 2026 term of council. And be it resolved that bylaw 2024-55, being a bylaw respecting the appointment of members of council and public representatives of the municipality of Desert All, and to appoint members of council's representatives of the municipality of Desert All to external boards and organizations, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto, as amended.
Mover and seconder. Nancy and Pat, all in favor? Okay. Next.
Okay, so the next reporting to open is for a new finance staff position, so I'll read the resolution. Be it resolved that council approve the creation of the casual position of reception receiving clerk for up to 30 hours per week, and that council directs staff to include the reception receiving clerk position at full-time hours for consideration in the 2025 draft budget.
Mover and seconder. Walt and Nancy, all in favor? Carried. Any notices of motion?
I would like to. Could could you guys present to, county council the purchase of, or look into the purchase of the public boat launch, that's private property, that's for sale on Benor Lake. It's been a boat launch for 30, 40 years. And, it is for sale right now. So it would be advantageous if we could purchase it. And it's a county road and most of the property is the road allowance.
Can you flip me a copy of that listing?
Yeah, sure. It's on realtor.ca, so I'll just
Yeah,
send it to you.
okay.
Can you send it to me too?
We'll take it down there. Yeah.
Okay. All right, thanks. Okay.
Okay. Any other notice of the motion? No. Being none and confirming bylaw?
Be it resolved that bylaw number 2024-56, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the regular council meeting held on May 28, 2024, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and the corporate seal attached thereto.
Yeah. Mover and seconder. Pat and Barry, all in favor? Carried. And the adjournment.
Be it resolved that council adjourned its regular meeting held on May 28, 2024 at 12:27 PM.
Mover and seconder. Walt and Carm, all in favor?